Hello and welcome to our channel. Spoilers ahead. Today we are going to review the action thriller movie Salt, released in 2010. Evelyn Salt, played by Angelina Jolie, is tortured by North Korean troops who charge her with espionage in 2003. Her supervisor, Ted Winter, quickly trades her for a North Korean captive and escorts her to liberty with the help of her boss, Ted Winter, played by Liv Schreiber. While traveling towards the border, she inquires as to why she was released, and it is informed that her boyfriend Mike petitioned everyone in the administration for her release. So, they decide to switch places with him so he wouldn't draw extra attention to himself. Salt is now observing her now husband Mike work at the breakfast table with spiders. He wishes her a happy anniversary after noticing her standing there. Ted comes in and they talk for a while before getting ready to leave. As they leave, another agent pursues them and eventually informs them that a defector has arrived and intends to provide them with information. Salt and Ted return upstairs to check if the Russian has any relevant information. Salt arrives in the room and commences the interview after getting up neural scans to assess if the defector is lying. The defector introduces himself as Orlov and tells her of a Russian espionage program set up during the Cold War in which children from American homes were stolen and replaced with Russian youngsters groomed by Russian agencies to be sleeper cell agents. These spies are known as K-12s. They would take the identity of the child until Day X. Day X seems to be coming up, and according to rumors, it will start with the Russian president being killed at the funeral of the US vice president the next day in Manhattan. As she walks away, he informs her that the agent who will assassinate the president is Evelyn Salt. She begins asserting her innocence to the counterintelligence officers, Peabody and Winter. Winter believes her and begins discussing next steps with Peabody. Two agents accompany Orlov out of the building and onto an elevator. Salt hands her a phone so that she can contact Mike. She is directed to the interrogation room. She realizes she is in danger when she observes Winter and Peabody arguing. Cut to Orlov, who is in the elevator. A blade emerges from his shoe and he kills both guards before fleeing. Winters and Peabody are notified of Orlov's escape, allowing Salt to flee the room and try to flee the building. As the building's security intensifies, she finds herself again confined in the interrogation room, where she builds up an explosive device to throw at the SWAT team. She blasts them, knocking them out, and manages to steal a gun. She gets into a taxi, calls Mike again, but she receives no answer, so she hangs up. As she walks into her apartment, Mike's chair has been pushed down, which means there was a fight and he was taken. Salt is packing her stuff and taking some of Mike's spiders. The SWAT team arrives just as she climbs out the window. She barely escapes and climbs inside the apartment of a neighbor. She then grabs a motorcycle and escapes. Salt goes to a bar at this moment. She borrows a fellow patron's coat and ID while in the restroom and boards a bus to New York City. Salt rents a small hotel room using the stolen ID. She boards a metro train the following day and sets a smoking device. She exits the train when everyone is distracted. The funeral commences in the church as she takes her place in the crypt. As the Russian president rises to give a speech, Salt tosses an explosive device onto the ceiling, causing the floor to collapse beneath him. Panic ensues and she probably shoots the Russian president. Despite having the option of shooting him, she chooses not to. She is thrown into an SUV and driven across the city in a procession. She eventually manages to expel both of her bodyguards from the vehicle and shocks the driver, leading him to collide with the police cars in front and behind them. She crashes the SUV through the fence and into the street below. Salt is then spotted on a ferry boat where she encounters and embraces Orlov. She is then transferred to a ship in the Hudson River that acts as the Russian spies' base of operations. She then notices Mike being taken captive. Orlov kills him dead to determine her loyalty. When she fails to respond, he leads her into his office to reveal additional information about the plan. When Salt learns that she is to make contact with the spy camouflaged as a NATO officer, she mixes them both a drink before smashing the wine bottle and ramming it into Orlov's neck. Salt then kills all of the Russian sleeper operatives on the boat with a grenade. Salt then exits the boat and travels to the rendezvous place to meet with her current NATO officer. He discloses that the goal is to assassinate the US president when he is in his White House safety bunker. When they get to Washington, he provides her with a new ID and disguises himself as another NATO commander. Winter is among the men gathered around the president, retreating to the bunker with him. The president is boosting the terror alert in the country from the bunker. Winter spots Salt arriving on CCTV and insists that the agents arm themselves once the level is raised and the president is given complete permission to launch US weapons. Suddenly, he grabs a gun and murders everyone in the room. Finally, he and the president are alone. He assaults the president and knocks him unconscious. She reaches the bulletproof window and motions for Winter to use his hand to authorize and launch the tactical strike on Mecca and Tehran. She starts talking to him through the glass. The news flashes over the screen, stating that the Russian president is not dead, as initially thought, but has been given a sedative. Ted stated that he told Orlov to kidnap and kill Mike. At this time, Salt is outraged and attempts to shoot through the glass. Salt and Ted are fighting in this room. The weapons are almost ready to be activated when the Secret Service appears and overwhelms them. Salt leaps to the computer, stopping the weapon strike activation, and is wounded in the process. Both she and Winter are brought out and Salt is uninjured because she was wearing a vest. She notices Winter having his wounds treated next to the steps as she's led up from the bunker as a captive. She charges at him, putting her shackles around his neck and leaping over the balcony to choke him. He is dead after his neck has been broken by the time she is dragged up, and she is given over to Peabody. He questions her about why she murdered Winter as they board a chopper. "Someone had to," she says. Peabody begins to trust her after she gives her side of the tale, but she points out that no one else would. She persuades him to let her go since they have taken everything from her and she will cease at nothing until all of the K-12 spies are killed. He then undoes her cuffs and she dives from the chopper into the Potomac River. The movie ends here. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you.